When I reach 1000 subscribers I will be giving away a $25 Amazon gift card away. To enter, like, subscribe and leave a comment below. Posted by you/developer. I don't have the time, and you don't have a job. Sorry, this is a bit long. When I started working for a local council at support desk in 2005, the standard operating procedure, SOP, for answering calls is that when the phone rang, we take the user details, their fault description and attempt to fix the issue. This went on for 6 years, until we had a new manager, with several innovative ideas which we all knew was not going to work in our particular environment. New manager calls a meeting with the entire team including his own manager and the head of it. He lays out the new rules and procedures. We stated that his procedures were not going to work because of various other protocols and the distance between sites. No one in authority listened to our concerns. 2 main policies were that we divided into 3 shifts. Morning shift, 7 o'clock to 1500 hours. Day shift, 9 o'clock - 1700. And late shift, 1400 hours - 2200, and that only the day shift is supposed to spend time fixing the more complex issues. Morning shift and late shift are simply call takers. Casual takers had 2 minutes per call, and any breach was brought up at your monthly review. Of all the new policies, the 2 minutes per call rule was the worst. Not only did we have mere 2 minutes to take a call, we had to attempt some troubleshooting and write up all the notes. If this was a new employee, we also had to add their details onto the system. Being the most senior support person on the team, I made a mental list of what I could do in that 2 minutes. It was a small list, but it meant that when the first shift started at 7 AM, most of the important work could be done. Malicious Compliance 1. After a month, the department was in chaos. Because we could only work 2 minutes before handing it off to the day shift, there were a lot of calls for the 3-day shift workers to attempt to fix. The outstanding queue went from 100 calls to nearly 2000 in that month. I maximized my time on every call. If I couldn't fix the call, I ensured that every call would take just under the 2-minute mark, then dumped them in the day shift call queue. Dropped calls, people who called and hung up, increased drastically, and one of the team went on long-term sick due to stress. Eventually the boss decided to come in early and see what the problem was. He sees me and another tech taking calls and stands over us while we work through the calls. We both take less than 2 minutes per call and follow his rules to the letter. He has no reason to complain, but sees that the calls are dropping. With 2 people taking calls, 2 minutes per call, and a peak of 30 calls around the 8:30 AM time mean that lots of these calls drop then call back later. Later in the shift, I see him checking call stats and see his face get red. He knows that his policy is not working. Malicious Compliance 2. The following day, boss calls us all into the meeting room and states that we must work harder or smarter. He tells us that we need to use the on-site support team to handle the logged calls instead of the day shift. We still had the 2-minute rule and the same staffing levels. I mentioned a couple of times that VIPs couldn't wait and that we need 4 people taking calls from 8 AM. I was told that the rules still stood. The day after, and we find out that on-site support have no free slots for over a week, which is 3 times shorter than the day shift's waiting times. Boss isn't, and instead of logging onto the phone, he's simply floating around. As 8:30 rolls around, I answer yet another call. This is a VIP, the chief executive. He's in a meeting room, 70 miles away attempting to turn on his laptop, but he can't get past the encryption software. It's an easy fix, but takes 10 minutes over the phone. I can't do it because of the 2-minute rule. I'm torn between dropping the calls or annoying the chief executive. Boss sees me hesitate and asks what's going on. Laptop encryption. He's in $DISTANT_TOWNI. The boss shut me down. Handed off to desktop. I told him that they wouldn't be able to get out for over a week and that the day shift could fix it, but this is stopping him from working. Day shift is too busy. I don't care who it is. Hand the call off. He told me before walking off. I took the details and told the chief executive that I'd have to hand the call off. Made the notes on the call and gave the incident reference. I realized that I hadn't told him who it was, but he could get this information easily. I also saved and replayed the recorded conversation to find that my boss could be heard clearly. After lunch, I was called into the office of the head of it. He chewed me out for leaving the chief executive without anything to present the council's vision of the future for $DISTANT_TOWN. I was told that the chief executive wants someone's head, metaphorically, for the treatment, and that formal proceedings had started, and I was to be suspended on full pay. And did I have anything to add? I told the head of it that my boss had told me to do it, and when I started to explain about it, he walked away. I also told him that if he pulled my phone log for that call, he could hear the boss saying that I was told to stay in that office while the head of it checked. An hour later, I was told to go home on full pay and return in the morning. The result was that the new boss was replaced, fired, and a new boss was placed there, promoted internally, actually listened to his staff and let us suggest improvements. Edit. Thank you kind strangers for the silver and the gold. This post has exploded far more than I ever anticipated. We did a lot of malicious compliance at the council because of the self-important staff that seemed to work there. Sadly, this type of thing was routine. Posted by u/sag/sag/sag. She might have survived this if she had been a courteous douche. I was working at a company that, despite being a multinational, had a very small staff due to its nature, very specialized medical field. This plus the constant staff absences from the office due to site and field trips meant that everyone, at all degrees of seniority, came and went from the head office and mucked in and did whatever needed doing whenever they were there. Eventually, however, it came to the point of needing a dedicated office person for answering the phone, data entry, filing, etc., so the specialists could focus more on the medical work, and a girl was hired. I was away consulting on a site setup when she started, and this is what happened. When I came back and met her, I got back in the morning and wasn't planning on working immediately after such a long trip. Instead, I was planning on, as I usually did on Wednesday when I was in the city, picking up my 5-year-old nephew from school and going to the park with him. We were going to drop off some papers and a case full of medical equipment at the office on the way. So I arrive at the office wearing jeans, with a child in tow. This is fairly unremarkable. Our job schedule is non-standard, and to accommodate this, drop-ins at all hours, in various states of sometimes casual dress are frequent. Me, hi, you must be I'm. She cuts me off. Office girl, oh gee, what do you want? Me, just dropping off the equipment case and some paperwork. OG doesn't bother to reply, just shrugs toward the back where the case goes. I put the papers on the edge of the desk in order to wrangle the case into its cupboard. OG, don't put them there. They don't belong there. Me, where would you like them? OG, where would I like them? They are nothing to do with me. Just get them out of my way. Me, takes a deep breath. Remembers she has no way of knowing who I am or my role with the company. Actually, these need to be entered in the computer, so should I just hand them to you? Or do you have an in tray? OG, how about you do your work and stop trying to slough it onto me? And that child shouldn't be in here. My nephew, who has been in the office many times, looks startled at this and a bit upset. Me, I understood you were taking over in the office. She cuts me off again. OG, that's right. And as the manager, I need to tell you that in future you need to dress appropriately and do the work you're given. Me, another deep breath, tries to muster sympathy as she's new and possibly hasn't realized the jeans and the child aren't out of line for a quick drop off. I summon a smile for a final attempt at making the encounter more pleasant. You know, I never finished introducing myself. I'm OG to my nephew. Don't touch anything. Just because your mother, she meant me, lets you get away with coming in here doesn't mean I will put up with it. In fact, you can go and stand outside. Nephew is confused and distraught at this attack and bursts into tears. Me, suddenly not giving a damn if she's new and losing all sympathy and the smile. No, I don't think so. OG, if you don't like it, you can take it up with the CEO. I'm a close personal friend as well as the manager here, and he's happy for me to run the office as I see fit. Take it up with the CEO, she says. Malicious compliance time. I know he will be in shortly, so I decide to wait and do just that. Soon he comes in the door. Nephew. Daddy. Runs over and gets hugs. CEO. To me. Oh great, you're back. Have you met OG yet? OG, this is Doctor, my business partner and sister. I hope you've been treating her well. He takes papers off me and hands them to her. Then he looks closer at his son. What's wrong, kiddo? Has someone not been nice to you? We didn't fire her. She just didn't show up the next day. Don't know what happened to her after that. She never contacted us for a reference. TL. DR office girl gives herself a promotion to manager, claims a non-existent friendship with CEO, lies to and tries to bully one company owner, and makes other company owner's child cry. Spoiler alert, does not have long career. Edit, wow. Silvered, and now gilded. Many thanks, and I'm glad if people have got a laugh out of it. And now platinumed, platinized, platypused. Thank you, benefactor. I'm a bit stunned at the reaction, but happy if this story has brightened people's day a bit. Edit again. I was asked for a few more details, and to put them up here. The following is posted in a down thread reply. Everything after seeing OG realize quite how deep a hole she was in is a bit anticlimactic. Once my nephew had been reassured that he wasn't in trouble, he was over the whole encounter and really just wanted to go to the park as promised, and I wasn't anxious to upset him again. So when his dad arrived, instead of the boy answering him about someone not being nice to him, a paraphrase, since this was about 3.5 years ago, I simply said there had been a misunderstanding about nephew visiting the office, and that Og, my brother and myself needed to have a chat to clarify office policies, duties and the like. She may have gone a little paler at this idea. I was deliberately underplaying things due to my nephew's presence, and wanted to calm down myself a bit too. Og knew that wasn't the end of it by a long shot. My brother knows me fairly well, and could read between the lines that 1. Something serious was up, and 2. I wanted nephew out of the line of fire before discussing it. So he suggested the three of us meet up first thing the next morning, and I chimed in that as he had work to do in the office, he could lock up for Og if she would just leave her keys. Him having work to do was fiction, and her leaving her keys wasn't about him locking up and getting them back to her when she comes in tomorrow was never going to happen. And we all knew it, but she was out of options, and I was out of asterisk to give. I was prepared to meet with her, give her a chance to put her case etc, document what happened, pay her whatever was owed, cross every I and dot every T, though the outcome was dead certain. I wanted it all by the book, because she wasn't going to be given any grounds to do anything but go away quietly, or loudly, for all I cared. But she was going away promptly, comprehensively, and permanently. However, she didn't bother to show up the next morning, or tell us she wasn't going to, and that was the last we heard of her. She was only with us 2 weeks, and my brother says her work was okay. To be fair, she does seem to have been polite enough to the very few clients she had any contact with. Perhaps she didn't see them as office rivals. I think her behavior was about establishing an office pecking order, and that's why she was so aggressive and tried hard to inflate her position and importance, despite being so new. Wow, did she misjudge that? It would fit with comments from the other staff who met her, some about being pushy and disputing what was her work. I don't know why she paid out on me in particular, because I was the only woman. There was slashes and other, but she was on a site and Og didn't meet her. Because of the genes and child, maybe she really did just have a bad day and handled it unacceptably. Douche level behavior. But if she'd been a polite douche during this one-sided pecking order contest and apologized after, she might have had a second chance and survived her second week. Posted by /Clut Commander. Want me to take it up with the head? Okay. So for reference, I have low iron plus vitamin D deficiency, and side effect from both mean I'm always fatigued. Now what happened to me was in the semi-start of puberty. Yeah, I know when you've been through it for like a year, but you still have no clue what the fuck is happening to your body. So yeah. Now we start our story. I was quite a bright kid when it came to math, cause my brain always worked well with logic shit, I guess. I was for the most part of my school life top sets in my band, which is actually quite good looking back, but then the minor health problems kick in. both physical and mental, and my mother starts to get worried when I came home from school, sleep from 5 PM to 8 AM every night. A few blood tests and doctor's visits later, and bam, we receive the conclusion. So we inform the school and they agree that it can be added as medical and I can't be penalized for it. Again, great. Except for one teacher. My maths teacher. I had never failed her class, but I always had minimal work in my books and most of I was half drunkenly scribbled on the page. This is when she starts dislike me. She would always pick on me to answer questions, and if I fell asleep in her class she would slam a textbook on my desk and then belittle me for falling asleep and send me out in the corridor for being defiant. TBH, she should have seen that something was definitely wrong when most of the time she would find me asleep in the corridor, but oh well. This ended in multiple detentions each week which I never went to, so one day she sends me out, but this time I stay awake. She's ranting on and on about how me falling asleep is being defiant, and how I would amount to nothing more in my life if I didn't learn how to take orders. She was the only teacher I ever had problems with, and if I didn't pass maths, I passed all my math tests with flying colors and that's all we were really ranked on. I told her that I can't control what's happening to me, and if she was a better teacher she would see that something defo wrong with my health, and if a lesson weren't so boring then maybe I could stay awake. And then she said the most beautiful line in the world. If you have a problem with my teaching then take it up with the head. I simply smiled and okay. When the day ended I called my mother and told her what had happened. She scheduled an emergency meeting with my head teacher regarding my health and education. I also requested to have all my math lessons in the library. Already not looking good for the bitch. So the meeting rolls around, and this teacher is looking very smug with her little notes and mother has fire in her eyes. We get into this meeting, and she immediately goes in saying I'm disrespectful and defiant of her classroom rules, and that I purposely ignore her and pretend to sleep. She says other shit, but I'm already not listening. And then it's our time to speak. H equals head teacher, M equals mother, T equals teacher, D equals me, M. So you say my daughter is disrespectful to you, but you have been the only one ever to approach me and say that. Not only that, but you have been the only teacher to say that about my child also. T. Well, I don't believe that could be possible. She shows very defiant behavior in class. Even when I sent her out she would sleep outside the classroom. H. Wait a minute, so you're telling me that she would sleep outside your classroom door on an uncomfortable and cold floor and you never thought to once call her mother about it? Or maybe tell someone higher than you to help her? T. She was only doing it to laugh in the face of my rules. H. Actually she did it because of her medical reason that were sent in an email months ago. You either decided to ignore what it said or not read the email. T. Well, I didn't receive this email, but I will take this into consideration next time I teach her. M. Actually no you won't. I have had my daughter come home and cry to me saying that she doesn't want to come to this school anymore, and that she feels like she's less than every time she walks through the door. She was fine about the school until she started your class, so this is me formally ask that she moved to a different class entirely. H. Op, is this true? D. Well, normally when I get sent out she would come and find me on the floor, she would shoot at me and tell me that I would be nothing in life when I grow up. Enter Waterworks. The worst part is that some of the kids from that class would bully me because they could hear everything that would say and then make fun of me for it. Harder Waterworks. Teacher, scared head teacher, furious my mother, Victorious Hotel, Trivago. The head assured me that I would be moving to a different class, but until then I would still study in the library. I said it was fine, and then I finally had peace. My mother said she wanted an investigation launched into this teacher. Did I mention that I dropped a few other incidents with other pupils because what she was doing could have bad long-term effects on a young child's mental health? They apparently actually did. She got demoted kind of. She was still head of maths, but she wasn't allowed to teach students. Basically all she did was grade things and act like an Ivy. Then the Holy Grail fell into my lap a year after. She was highly advised to take early retirement as to not shame herself and the school because of her behavior. But still, after all this time I thank her, because if she had never told me to take it up with the head I would have never thought about it. Close bracket. Posted by you/ryattack96. You want us to comply to your ridiculous demands and make you look like a complete asshole in the process? You got it. TL. Dr. Crazy teacher acts like she's Dolores Umbridge, tries to ruin everyone's time and it only backfires on herself when we comply. To be honest, I'm not 100% sure if this belongs here, but I'll post it here anyway. Also, this is a bit of a long one, and it does take a lot of background before I go into the malicious compliance. Cast. Me, Ms. B, horrible teacher and bully. So, in high school, there were some really horrible teachers that really shouldn't be teaching. The teachers from, I think in America it's called the home economics class, home eco, were absolute cunts. The lot of them. They were all nasty, always seeking out to bully the kids who were obviously shy and kept to themselves, like me, and call them out if they ever found something funny during class, even if it was just something innocent. Even though they bullied me to a point where I actually got panic attacks before I went to their classes. This is in the 8th grade and we didn't actually get a choice yet in our subjects. I still wanted to better myself and learn some home ec stuff that could be useful or fun. They were absolutely horrible to me when they found out that I wanted to continue with their classes, regardless of them bullying me. So, that caused them to up the bullying. It got to a point where I would shake, sweat, cry and hyperventilate all at once. And yes, that's possible. I felt a lot better when I got to pick my own classes in 9th grade and actually found it freeing when I didn't have any of those horrible home ec teachers and got to calm down a little. That is, until the teacher that used to bully me the most decided to put her daughter in a music program which was a little too coincidentally similar to mine, even having not only the same instrument, but also similar times to where I had my classes. You got a certain amount of time during the day and I actually begged my mum to put me in during my home ec class. Her daughter had the same teacher, same instrument, same rooms to play certain parts. The horrible teacher even was so deluded that she came up to me and talked to me as if I actually liked her and that she hadn't bullied me to the point of panic attacks, severe, and anxiety and giving me low self-esteem. I pretended to give a friendly hi because I was just gobsmacked that she was that deluded to think that what she did was okay and that it wouldn't scar me. Then, once I made great friends, we all hung out at the library before and after school for a few years until Ms. Bitch, decided to ruin that too. She kept getting stricter and stricter with the school policies, even though we were actually not inclined to do anything she demanded us to do, as it was not school policy. Once school finished, we were free to go as we please, and as long as we weren't harassing anyone, we could do whatever. She demanded us to stop talking, that we weren't allowed to talk at all, even whispering really quietly. Then she told us that we can't listen to music there whilst we were working. I enjoyed listening to music after school as it helped me concentrate more and helped me actually focus better instead of wasting time. Now, this was 100% not true. We were allowed to listen to music as long as we had it on either headphones or earphones, and it wasn't bothering anyone. We never bothered anyone because they were doing the same. One of the librarians that I actually liked, she was really nice, told me that I had upset Ms. B because I wasn't listening to her and was breaking the rules. The nice librarian didn't do anything. She just let me know in a nice voice and rolled her eyes. I don't think she liked her either. Now, this is where the malicious compliance came in. I'm not allowed to listen to music? Fine. I wasn't allowed to listen to music, but I was allowed to listen to the recorded language course for listening and speaking. We use this for both French and Japanese. I was studying both at the time. Ms. B came over to me when she saw me wearing earphones. "Ms. B, you're not allowed to listen to music," she exclaimed loudly with a smirk. I gave her an innocent look. Actually, I'm listening to my language speaking and listening course for both Japanese and French. I'm not listening to any music, and I'm trying to practice for my test. If I can't listen to the material, then I can't practice. Ms. B, you don't do languages. You drop those like everyone else. One of my friends, who was trying really hard not to laugh because she realized what I did, actually came up to her and said, "Actually, she's specializing in languages. She loves languages. I still do BTW, and I want to specialize in linguistics." As confirmation, I nodded and spoke to her in pure French. Her smirk dropped. And every day in every school day after school, I listened to the material and she could do nothing. After a while though, the two other nice librarians let us listen to music again. This was in 2013, when I was in grade 12, and we were allowed to listen to music to our heart's content. I found out that after I graduated, she was actually divorced, and that's why she was a right cunt. She was a miserable person who wanted others to feel just as bad as her. The school also found out about her little power trip. All the things she said was against school policy weren't, and she got into a lot of trouble. She just ruined her own career and looking like an asshole in the process. Fuck you, Miss Berger. I hope your divorce was just as horrible as you. TL. Dr. Crazy teacher acts like she's Dolores Umbridge. Tries to ruin everyone's time and it only backfires on herself when we comply. When I reach 1,000 subscribers, I will be giving away a $25 Amazon gift card away. To enter, like, subscribe and leave a comment below.